Good evening, Eureka is off. I'm Maurice Dubois, and we begin tonight with the death of former First Lady Rosalynn Carter. She died today at her home in Plains, Georgia, after a life committed to public service long after leaving Washington. Mrs. Carter was 96 years old. No other first couple lived longer after leaving the White House than Jimmy and Rosalynn Carter, nearly 43 years. And no first couple was married longer, 77 years. CBS's Norah O'Donnell looks back at the life of a groundbreaking American woman.
Jimmy and Rosalynn Carter had a partnership that was extraordinary for a president and first lady. The Carters' bond was deep, both in private and in politics.
Could Jimmy Carter have been elected president without Rosalynn Carter?
Well, I don't like to think he could.
She spoke her mind to her husband, and he valued her advice. She sat in on cabinet meetings, a first, and took the heat for it.
It doesn't matter what I do. It doesn't matter what he does. We're going to be criticized. You just have to have confidence.
Born in Plains, Georgia on August 18, 1927, the oldest of 4 children, she started dating Jimmy Carter when she was 18.
The first time I had a date with him, I came home and Mother said, "You know, I like Jimmy. He has the nicest smile."
They married a year later. Jimmy was in the Navy, which allowed them to see the world. But his father died in 1953, so with their 3 sons, they returned to Plains to run the family peanut business. In 1970, Jimmy was elected governor of Georgia. Rosalynn campaigned by his side and on her own. That continued on the 1976 presidential campaign trail, where their 4th child, Amy, often joined them. As First Lady, she continued to be a sounding board for her husband.
I look forward to consulting closely with him on a regular basis.
She also traveled as his emissary, especially to Latin America. After leaving Washington in 1981, they then created the Carter Center in Atlanta, where they promoted peace and where she continued her work as an advocate for research and treatment of mental illness. She also became a prominent voice for caregivers and for women and children, and she joined her husband in the work of Habitat for Humanity. And as the world faced the deadly COVID-19 pandemic, the couple used their voices to encourage Americans to get vaccinated to help save lives. Their long tradition of helping others led President Clinton to award the Carters the Medal of Freedom in 1999.
Jimmy and Rosalynn Carter have done more good things for more people in more places than any other couple on the face of the earth.
President Carter not only called Rosalynn his wife, but also his best friend and chief advisor. A small-town girl who didn't plan on a public life, Rosalynn Carter understood the power of high office and used it to help make this a better and kinder world. Norah O'Donnell, CBS News, Washington.
And tonight, Habitat for Humanity called the late First Lady, quote, a compassionate and committed champion of the organization, adding she worked fiercely to help families around the world.